If you constantly feel the need to be liked by everyone, there is a hidden psychological cost that most people never recognize until it begins to affect their confidence, relationships, decisions, and even their sense of identity. The truth is that many people spend years trying to avoid rejection without realizing they are slowly rejecting themselves in the process. And the most dangerous part is that this behavior often appears positive on the surface. It looks like kindness. It looks like empathy. It looks like being a good person. But beneath it, there can be a powerful psychological pattern that silently shapes every interaction and every choice you make. If you can't control your emotions, people will control you. Most people misunderstand emotional control. It's not about staying calm. It's about how your mind silently shapes your behavior, your relationships, and the way people respond to you without you realizing it. If you stay until the end, you'll understand the psychological patterns behind your reactions, why you repeat certain behaviors, and how your mind actually builds emotional habits in daily life. Because the real issue is not what you feel, it's what your mind does with what you feel. And most people never notice this process happening. Welcome to a space dedicated to understanding the human mind and modern emotions, helping people better understand anxiety, relationships, and the hidden thoughts that influence everyday life. In today's video, we will explore the dangerous need to be liked by everyone, why so many intelligent and emotionally aware people fall into this trap, how the fear of disapproval rewires behavior, and why seeking constant validation can quietly damage self-respect, emotional stability, and authentic relationships. More importantly, you will discover practical psychological insights that can help you break this pattern and develop a stronger sense of self without becoming cold, selfish, or disconnected from others. What you are about to learn may completely change the way you interpret your social interactions. Because the people who seem the most accepted are not always the happiest. The people who avoid conflict are not always the most emotionally healthy. And the people who try hardest to please everyone often pay a price they never expected. By the end of this video, you will understand why the need for approval is one of the most misunderstood psychological habits in modern life, how it develops, how it influences your emotions without your awareness, and what emotionally strong individuals do differently. What you discover may explain patterns in your own life that have remained invisible for years. Have you ever said yes when you actually wanted to say no, just because you were afraid someone would be disappointed in you? Maybe you rewrite a text 3 times before sending it, worry about how your friends interpreted a simple comment, or replay a conversation at night wondering if you sounded rude, awkward, or selfish. And sometimes nothing is actually wrong. Nobody is angry. Nobody rejected you. Yet your mind keeps searching for signs that you might have lost someone's approval. That constant need to be accepted can quietly become exhausting. The problem is not simply wanting people to like you. Human beings naturally seek connection and belonging. The problem begins when approval becomes something you feel you need in order to feel safe, valuable, or confident. You start adjusting your personality depending on who is in the room, hiding opinions that might create disagreement, apologizing when you did nothing wrong, and putting other people's comfort ahead of your own. At first, this can feel like kindness, but over time, you may stop asking yourself a much more important question: what do I actually want? And that is where this pattern becomes more complicated than it appears, because the fear of being disliked can slowly influence decisions you make every single day without you even noticing. Before we continue, if procrastination has been stealing your time, your goals, and even your confidence, there's something I want you to know. You don't have to keep fighting that cycle alone. I've put together something designed to help you take action instead of constantly saying, "I'll do it tomorrow." You can find it through the link in the description. It's available for a minimal amount, and if you decide to get it, you're not only investing in yourself, you're also helping support this channel and allowing us to keep creating content like this. If procrastination is something you've been struggling with, take a look at the link in the description. It might be the small step that finally gets you moving. What most people don't realize is that the need to be liked can become an automatic behavior long before you consciously notice it. Your brain starts treating other people's reactions as information about your own safety and value. A short reply suddenly feels like rejection. Someone looking serious becomes a reason to wonder if you did something wrong. A friend cancels plans, and instead of thinking, "They're probably busy," you immediately ask yourself, "Did I upset them?" The strange part is that you may start changing your behavior before anyone has actually asked you to change. You speak differently around certain people, avoid subjects that could create disagreement, laugh at things you don't find funny, or agree with opinions you don't really share. It feels like you're simply being easygoing, but there's something deeper happening. You're constantly monitoring the social environment and adjusting yourself to avoid disapproval. Over time, this can create a pattern where your attention becomes focused less on what you genuinely think and more on how everyone else might react. And once your brain gets used to that pattern, even ordinary interactions can start feeling like situations where you have something to prove. The uncomfortable part is that people may never realize how much effort you're putting into being accepted, because from the outside, it can simply look like you're an incredibly agreeable person. And this is where the need to be liked by everyone starts changing your life in ways you may not expect. You might think that being agreeable makes people respect you more, but constantly adjusting yourself can actually make your presence less clear. Imagine being at work and having an idea, but keeping quiet because you don't want someone to disagree with you. Or sitting with friends and going along with plans you don't want, simply because saying no feels uncomfortable. Even in relationships, you may apologize too quickly, avoid difficult conversations, or hide what you really need because you're afraid that honesty could create tension. Little by little, people learn what you tolerate, what you accept, and what you won't defend. And when your words constantly say, anything is fine, while your emotions are saying the opposite, frustration begins to build underneath the surface. You can become exhausted from giving people access to your time, attention, and energy while receiving very little space to be yourself. Then comes the strange contradiction. The more desperately you try to avoid being disliked, the less connected you may actually feel. Because real connection requires people to know who you are, not just the version of you that causes the least discomfort. And when you repeatedly hide your real reactions, even people who genuinely care about you may never get the chance to understand you completely. Your brain doesn't react to the present only. Sometimes, it reacts to what the present reminds you of. The need to be liked by everyone can have roots in earlier experiences where acceptance felt uncertain, conditional, or easily lost. Maybe you grew up learning that being quiet kept the peace. Maybe you discovered that saying what you really thought could lead to criticism, arguments, distance, or disappointment. Or perhaps you simply became used to receiving approval when you were helpful, successful, agreeable, or easy to deal with. Over time, your mind can learn a simple emotional rule. If people are happy with me, I'm safe. The problem is that this rule can follow you into adulthood, even when the original situation is long gone. A normal disagreement with a partner can suddenly feel much bigger than it actually is. A manager giving you feedback can trigger an intense urge to explain yourself. Someone becoming distant for a day can make you question everything you did. Your current life may be completely different, but your emotional system can still react according to an old pattern. And because these reactions happen so quickly, you may believe you're simply being considerate or sensitive. But sometimes what looks like kindness is actually a learned strategy for avoiding rejection. Once you recognize that pattern, an uncomfortable question begins to appear. How much of your personality is truly you, and how much was shaped by the fear of losing other people's approval? The moment you start noticing how often you seek approval, something important begins to change. You create a small space between what you feel and what you automatically do. Instead of immediately agreeing, apologizing, explaining yourself, or checking whether someone is upset, you can start asking a different question. Am I doing this because I genuinely want to, or because I'm afraid of how they might react? That question doesn't magically erase insecurity, and it doesn't mean you should stop caring about other people. Healthy relationships still require empathy, compromise, and consideration. The difference is that your choices become more intentional. A friend can disagree with you without becoming an enemy. Someone can misunderstand you without it meaning you are a bad person. A person can dislike one decision you made without your entire sense of worth collapsing around it. Slowly, social situations stop feeling like constant tests you have to pass. You begin to recognize that being respected and being universally liked are not the same thing. Some people may prefer the version of you that always agrees, always responds immediately, and never creates discomfort. But when you stop performing for approval, you also give the people who genuinely value you something far more real. the opportunity to know you as you actually are. And that shift changes not only how you see other people, but how you understand yourself. Maybe the most unsettling part about needing everyone to like you is realizing how quietly it can shape a life. Not through one dramatic decision, but through hundreds of small moments. The opinion you swallowed, the message you rewrote, the boundary you never expressed, the disagreement you avoided, the version of yourself you presented because it felt safer. And perhaps that is why approval can become so powerful. It doesn't always feel like fear. Sometimes it feels like being helpful. Sometimes it feels like being understanding. Sometimes it even feels like love. But somewhere beneath all of that is a simple human question. If people stopped approving of me, would I still recognize myself? There is no easy answer to that question, because identity is not something we build in isolation. We are shaped by relationships, experiences, rejection, acceptance, and the moments when someone sees us differently than we see ourselves. The goal was never to become someone who doesn't care what others think. That would be another extreme. The deeper shift is simply realizing that being liked by everyone was never the same thing as being truly known. And sometimes the person you have spent the most time trying to keep happy is everyone except yourself. If you made it all the way to the end, thank you for being here. If this video made you recognize something about yourself, leave a comment with one word, aware. I genuinely like to know how many people made it this far. And if you want more videos about psychology, human behavior, emotions, and the patterns that shape our lives, subscribe to the channel and leave a like. There's another video waiting for you on the card on screen, and you can also explore the playlist for more topics like this. Don't leave just yet. Choose one, keep watching, and let's continue understanding the mind a little deeper.